All right, guys, we are live. This is the Shillan and Duffy recap show for UFC Atlanta, Usman versus Buckley. I am your host. My name is Keith Shillan. As I said, this is the Shillan and Duffy show. The great Ben Duffy is not here, so we got the best replacement possible. We got the great Dayne Fox. Dayne, how you doing, man?
Doing well, despite what the card produced. I'm not going to crap all over the main event, but so much of that card was crap that it was a tough slog to get through. But other than that, I'm doing great.
Yeah, we got a lot to talk about. I will say this. I want to do some housekeeping and shout out to everybody in the chat. We'll get to as many comments as we possibly can. I'm going to try to keep this a little bit shorter than we normally do a recap show. Usually we go about 2 hours. I'm going to try to keep this to like an hour and a half or less. And the reason I'm saying that is, guys, I was at a softball field all day today. I got to be back. I got to be back at 7 a.m. It's 1:45. So I'm going to be rolling on like 3 hours sleep maybe, and then still do my last minute study for the next card. Between my son's wrestling, early morning wrestling during the winter, and my daughter's even earlier softball, these recap shows could be the death of me. Anyways, let's get right into it. Main event, we had Kamaru Usman, former UFC welterweight champion, trying to get back on track after a 3-fight losing skid, taking on rising star Joaquin Buckley. Kamaru Usman pulled the upset in the main event, winning a unanimous decision. I'm sitting there, I'm watching this fight, and I'm saying to myself, and I said it on the preview show, and I'm kind of kicking myself now. I ended up picking Buckley, but I didn't have the best night. I'll be honest. My picks were kind of shitty this one, but I'm saying to myself, fifth round KO against Leon Edwards in a fight that he was winning. Majority decision in the rematch against Leon Edwards. Then a short notice upper weight loss to extremely close fight to Khamzat Chimaev on short notice upper weight class, taken on like 4 or 5 days notice. Did we bury Usman too early? Is he back?
I'm still hesitant to say yes. Like, when we say bury Usman, he was only fighting the best of the best. You know, Edwards, he lost the title to. The fact that Edwards worked up to the title's an indication of how good he is. He lost the rematch to Edwards, and then he lost to Khamzat, who is fighting for the title next. And that was out of Usman's weight class. Now, whether or not he was at his peak anymore, I think it's fair to say no. But Barry, I don't know. The question is, the thing that actually threw me off with regards to Usman was he had a chance to step in against Shavkat in December, and he was riding a 3-fight losing streak. He could have stepped in, probably saved that card. And if he beat Shavkat, it's like, hey, he's right back in the title picture. And he didn't take that opportunity. To me, that screams, oh, this is a guy who knows he's shot. Obviously, there's some other crap behind it that I was not privy to, or anybody else for that matter. And he looked good, but the other question I have, was Joaquin Buckley simply a fantastic matchup for him to take advantage of?
Yeah, so I'm watching this and I'm thinking, wow, a lot of the prime Usman is showing tonight. Some of his best attributes, obviously his wrestling, his long range, that like snatch single he does, the pressing his opponent against the cage, the smother. And I don't think prime Usman is back, simply because I don't think he can do the output of the feet that he had. I mean, when I think of prime Usman, I think of like the first Kobe Covington fight, where the amount of volume he had, or the Tyron Woodley when he won the title. Obviously, he could still wrestle. I just don't think that. I also am still a little worried about his durability. I know they talk about his knees, but also just the shots he's landed. Obviously, the KO to Leon Edwards. Just he was taken down, smothered early against Chimaev. So those things still worry me. But that said, I still think he showed tonight that he's still a big problem to a lot of people in the division. Now, can he go on one of these Glover to share where he just keeps winning, everyone counts him out, and suddenly he's a champion again? Sure, at this age, he could. Is it likely? I don't think it's likely. And but that said, if he can use, I mean, he's going to be much bigger than himself. I mean, it's not than others. Excuse me. He's always a big middleweight. I mean, he made Buckley, who's obviously Buckley is short and stocky, but even like just frame wise, like Usman's a big dude. I've met him in person a couple times. The guy looks like a freaking heavyweight. Like the guy's huge. So if he can muscle people against the cage, press him up there, he's going to be an issue. I mean, you think about like right now. Give me, and I don't make predictions until we do the previous show, so I'm gonna put you on the spot. Who's the favorite right now if he fought Ian Machado Gary?
Gary.
How close is it?
It's a close line. It's a close line, but I would give Gary a slight advantage because he actually has a pretty good understanding of what to do with his length than Buckley. And I think Gary's got better takedown defense. So,
yeah, and of course, obviously, I'm completely comparing two different ones. I'm just thinking like a guy who's a contender who recently won. So, another thing that impressed me that I was wondering if it would still be there based on how the way he fought recently is the gas tank. The gas tank's still there. Did he fight at the most blistering pace? No, it wasn't like the Covington one fight, and I don't think we'll ever get that kind of pace where we were talking about him as, oh my God, does he have the best cardio in MMA kind of situation? But I do think he showed that he can wrestle for a long period of time, and he's more likely to wear you out because he's going to get you to carry his weight and stuff like that than he is to gas himself out. Like people were talking about, is he completely shot? I mean, the amount of people that was commenting like, oh, I think we're all going to find out that Usman is gone. Like he's going to go on a Tony Ferguson type run. He proved that narrative was crazy false.
Yeah.
How far do you think he can go? Can he get back to a title shot?
I think he can, largely because I think all he would need is one more win. The UFC likes Usman, and I think that they would be more than happy to throw him into a title shot as soon as possible. So if he can get matched with the right opponent, get that win, I think he's there.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. And there's also sometimes like getting a title shot is not as impressive. Well, that's not true. Depending on the run you have to do is what it comes down to. Like sometimes you get a title shot just by being the only guy available, being ready to take a fight on short notice, 2 weeks notice, something like that. So that could always happen. If he has to rise up, fight another top 5 guy, then fight a top 3 guy, then fight for the title, then I'm going to say he doesn't reach it if that's the tank. But the problem is not every avenue to a title shot is the same. You know what I mean? It's not like there's multiple ways to get a title shot, not just okay, you have to do A, B, and C. So I seen a lot of people on Twitter. I hate this word, but I'm going to ask it just because people like using it. And you know exactly what I'm going to say. Did Joaquin Buckley get fraud checked tonight?
Yep, exactly what I thought you were going to say. I don't know if that's the right word, largely because we've always had questions about Buckley's takedown defense, and Usman's fantastic wrestler. Don't get me wrong. I think that Buckley's takedown defense was a bit worse tonight than what I expected. But is that because Usman was that much better than I expected, or Buckley was that bad? I honestly don't know 100% for sure. Buckley, I think if he were to get the right coaching, could make the right changes. He's still young enough, but he's definitely not what a lot of people thought he was. We'll put it that way. At least not yet.
Yeah, I agree with that, and I agree with that, and I don't think he's fraud checked. I mean, you don't get through some of the wins, but when you go through his record, you're like, well, he beat the shell of Colby Covington. He beat like 40-something-year-old Stephen Thompson. Like, if you want to start nitpicking, and I've said this before, you can always nitpick everybody's record. You could sit there and, I mean, I truly believe this, and I'm not doing this right now because, like I said, I want this show to be quicker than usual. But I've done it before, just like trolling people and nitpicked Fedor Emelianenko's record and be like, he didn't beat anybody. and then when you start saying, well, when he beat Tim Silva, he was on a 4-fight losing streak, and when you put this, like, you could do it all day, and it's like,
his biggest win was Hong Man Choi, dude. That's pathetic. Literally, he was. I mean, Hong Man Choi was huge.
So some of the things that I think when I'm thinking of Buckley, so like I said, Usman, like not everyone's route to a title is the same, but right now Usman, it's like okay, 1 or 2 wins, he's back in it. To me, Buckley has really put himself. He probably needs 4 or 5. So yeah, could he win the title one day? Yeah, I just think he's really opened up himself to make himself a long shot. I'm not gonna put it like out of the realm of possibly. When you have the power, the athleticism that he has, yeah, like he absolutely could. Obviously, there's a glaring weakness right now is his takedown defense, and there's a lot of guys in that welterweight division where if you can't stop takedowns, you're in big trouble. Obviously, Usman showed tonight. I think Shavkat comes to mind. Obviously, Bilal Muhammad, the former champion, comes to mind.
Mm-hmm.
Sean Brady would be obviously Islam Makhachev is moving up. That would be an issue. So right now there's 4 or 5 guys, and I'm just like, unless something drastically changed, he's in a really, really bad situation.
100%. No, that's 100% true. Buckley doesn't carry the same cachet that Usman has, so he's definitely moving down the ladder quite a bit. As far as here's a question I got for you. Who do you think gets Usman right back in the shot if he wins one more fight?
Well, I mean, I think that I think there's a bunch of people. I think obviously Machado Gary, Shavkat. If you could be the guy to beat Shavkat, that'd be there. I think a win over Bilal Muhammad would do it. I think if you want to be the guy to like be the test for Michael Morales, I think any of those. Because at the end of the day, when you look at the division, who's got a bigger name than Usman? Maybe Gary. Like Gary's, I think, more marketable. But I mean, just like name, you ask your friends, you ask your casual friends, who has a bigger name than Usman in the division? Probably nobody.
Usman's bigger than Gary right now. I think Gary has the potential to surpass him, but yeah.
Yeah, but when we say that, like more people know who Usman is, but the excitement is different. You
Makes
know
sense.
What I mean?
Yeah. Man, we had a lot of people screaming Bilal on the comments.
That honestly though, if I have to, that's probably the one I'm going to do. This actual like Dev says, I'm going to put that up there. There's actual beef. There's some backstory between the two of them. I think they're the ones that neither fan. I don't think fans generally would be excited about. So let's knock one of them off. While also not really positioned either up that much, because if you're Bilal and you beat Usman, you're like, the argument is like, yeah, they deserve to get a crack at the title again. Well, he already lost to Jack Della Maddalena, or if Makhachev wins the title, I know that they probably won't want to fight each other. But also, you beat a guy who just lost. Now it's he lost 4 to 5 fights. Now if you Usman, it's like, yeah, cool. You beat a guy who just like it's Bilal Muhammad. He's not that good. He's never that good. I'm not saying that. I'm saying what other people would say. I think Bilal's very good.
I knew what you meant. Yeah, no, Bilal's fantastic. But yeah,
I think Bilal's very good. But you get what I'm saying. And then they'll say, oh yeah, he just lost his last fight, and Jack Della Maddalena, the amount of damage you put on him. So yeah, that's the fight I would do, and I'd put it as I'd put it on a big card. I'd put it on like the New York City card. I'd put it 4th from the top, not even like top 3 fight. I'm going, obviously, John Jones would be the one I'd really hope. And then, I throw another title fight. I throw one that like some grudge match to get people really excited. Then I put Muhammad and Usman like 4th from the top. What did you have in mind?
I actually did have Bilal on there on my list as well, just because I think that it kind of sells itself in the sense of 2 former champions. They've got some beef, potential title eliminator. I'm not going to say it definitively would be, just because you've got guys like Brady and Gary and Shavkat that all have a reasonable case to make. But honestly, if I'm Shavkat or Brady or Gary, I'm saying that I want Usman next, just because he's been on the shelf for so long that I think he really had to do a lot of maintenance to get himself ready for this fight. Is he going to be able to maintain that type of maintenance to stay ready for another fight? Like he very well could, I don't know for sure, but that's why we make these fights so that we can watch them, and throw in the fact that he does still have the biggest name value. If I'm one of the youngsters, I'm doing everything possible to try to get under Usman's skin and get that fight made.
Yeah, I think it's twofold. So I think of all the names we said, when we think about the top, obviously, guys in the division, obviously you have Jack Della Maddalena, you have Islam Makhachev coming in, you have Bilal, you have Gary, Shavkat, Brady. Brady's always kind of like the forgotten guy, even though he's on this incredible run. When I think about those guys, and you throw Usman's name in there, who and pretend I'm one of the sides, whichever guy you want to single out. Who's the guy that's most likely I could beat easily and look really good? Usman.
Mm-hmm.
On the flip side, who, if it goes bad, is it frustrating? Because if it goes bad in the fight, how frustrated was Buckley tonight? How frustrated guys when they fought Usman and he's putting you against the cage, he's grinding on you. Yeah, is he knocking you out like Shavkat could? Is he, knocking you out like I guess Gary could or Makhachev could or something? No, but he's sucking the life out of you.
Yep.
So, obviously, when you're in the top 5, top 7, whatever we're at, nobody's an easy matchup. But I think I kind of agree with you too. Between the name value, the guy that people are going to be talking about for the next couple weeks, and then I think one of the bigger rewards with the lower risk. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah.
Let's matchmake, and I'll go back to Usman in a second. Let's matchmake Buckley, because to me there's like a lot of ranges you could go. You could have him still fighting fringe contenders. You could have him be the test for rising guys. You could have him just in a like kind of bounce back type fight, like a still a test, but like a Jeff Neal or something. Like who'd you have in mind?
Oh God, you actually threw out one of the names that I was thinking. Jeff Neal was somebody that I had on the tip of my tongue. Michael Morales is another one that I think would be an interesting test.
If I'm
Carlos Prates,
if I'm Morales, yeah, Prates makes a lot of sense coming off a loss. If I'm Morales, I'm not taking that fight. I'm feeling like I'm fighting. I want one of those names we already said. To me, like Buckley's kind of like damaged goods.
Yeah. No, there's a lot of truth to that. I think you're probably right.
He's also damaged goods, and if you lose the way you lose, it's really bad. So Dev's going way down the list, going like Kevin Holland rematch at 170.
No.
I actually saw a lot of people saying that. I'm gonna go with a name that I haven't seen anybody mention yet, and it's more of the guys who've been recent contenders that have fallen on hard times, and you get one of them back in the picture. I'll put him against Leon Edwards.
You know what? I can kind of see that, because if there's anybody who might be able to squeeze a half entertaining fight out of Edwards, I think Buckley's probably a good choice to do that.
Let's before we move on, and I want to ask this question: I heard the broadcast were talking about, and they're like, at one point they were saying arguably the greatest welterweight of all time, and I'm like, there's no
GSP.
There's no argument. Like there's no, when people say arguably, like when people make it, like someone said, LeBron James is arguably the greatest basketball player. I might disagree and say I think Michael Jordan is, but I understand an argument. Like I understand like I could understand like, okay, arguably. There's no argument. It's GSP. And I'm sitting there and I'm saying to myself, is he even number 2? Has he? I mean, no, I want to make sure we're talking about the same number 2. I'm saying Matt Hughes. Has he passed?
I knew that. Yeah, I thought that's where you were going with that.
No, listen, I want to be very clear. In their prime, you give me a prime Kamaru Usman fighting a prime Matt Hughes. Kamaru Usman wipes the floor with Matt Hughes. Absolutely wipes the floor. It's not a matchup. Stylistically, people advance. It's just way different. But the way I compare greatness, I compare them how dominant were they in their era versus how dominant were somebody else in their era. That's how I compare it. But like Babe Ruth couldn't play in current Major League Baseball, but he was the most dominant player in the history of the game of his era. So that's why if you said who's the greatest baseball player of all time, I say Babe Ruth. Like, of course it is. He hit more home runs than the entire teams did. Like, it's silly. So that's how I view it. So people have different standards how they view all-time great, but that's how I do it. So do you have Usman over Matt Hughes? Because to me, it's 8-5. It's 8-5 title defenses.
Not only that, but I think Hughes was the face for a little bit as well.
He was the face,
and that's a heavy.
To me, he was like the co-face. The face to me was like Chuck Liddell and Tito, like during that reign when Hughes was, but like he was like the next one down.
Yeah, I was going to say after Tito lost the title, I think that there was a very short window where Hughes was the face, and then
this is. I don't want to be a dick, but I don't want to challenge this guy. He said, "Who did he beat though?" The Hughes, Liddell, Franklin era were defending against nobody's. I'm assuming this guy, and I apologize if I'm. I hate to be that guy like in the shirt off form, like, oh, casual. Like, did you watch back then? Because sometimes the people who think we're nobodies, and I'm not saying, I'm not trying to like insult this guy. I'm just generally asking. Like, he beat BJ Penn. He beat George St. Pierre, young George St. Pierre. He beat young George St. Pierre. He beat Sean Shirk, who was a legit talent at that time. He beat Frank Trigg at that time. Are they the all-time greats? No, but they were great fighters at the time. I can flip it. Well, man, that was a long time ago, 15 years ago, about or so. Maybe longer. Maybe
longer.
All right, 20 years from now, we're gonna say the same thing about Kamaru Usman. Who did he beat? Jorge Masvidal. Did you ever see Jorge Masvidal's record? Did you ever see Colby? Who did Colby Covington beat? Like, you're gonna say the same thing 20 years from now. You know what I mean? Like it won't look as good.
Yeah, no, I get what you're saying, and I'm actually kind of surprised you didn't say anything about Sakurai. That was his only UFC fight, but at the time, dude, Sakurai was a stud.
Yeah, Mark Sakurai. The one argument with him was like he was a little undersized. The Asians were always undersized for the weight classes for he was probably more of a lightweight. But yeah, and I mean I guess you could make the same argument with Shirk and BJ Penn too. So yeah, Mark Sakurai is another one. Yeah. So I don't want to go too far, but so anyways, I'm putting you on the spot. Who do you have higher? Because I still have Hughes over him. It's close, but I have Hughes over him.
No, it's extremely close, and I've kind of had the same thoughts. I'm not. If somebody wants to say Kamaru, I probably would. I wouldn't say that they're stupid or anything like that. I probably would still say Hughes, in part because I am a history buff and I have a little bit more of a soft spot for yesteryear. Sure. But ask me 5 years after Kamaru's done, and I could easily see myself leaning towards him at that point. But we'll see.
Yeah, and just everyone always says that Carlos Newell fight was a fluke and everything. That first one, but we forget there was a rematch, and then Matt Hughes put it on him and smoked him in the rematch. So that's why I just want to bring that up. Everyone forgets about the rematch. So, and it was a one-sided shellacking by Matt Hughes.
Yeah, so, and even if they had given that first fight to Newton, they would have had the rematch because of how controversial that was, and Hughes's reign would have started at that point either way. So,
I think it was a right call, by the way. And I don't want to go down that road after I say like that was ridiculous. That debated 20 years ago for 25 years ago for length. This has always been my argument. When the referee went to stop the match, he saw one guy unconscious before the other guy. So to me, that's a win for Hughes. Did Hughes go out from being choked out on the feet? Maybe. Or did he? I believe Hughes made a conscious move to slam Newton, and as he was slamming, he went out. To me, the move for the slam was first. The referee saw Newton out first. That thing is debated forever. Probably it's who won between Randleman and Bastard Rutan, who should have won, and I think that might be the next debate. Anyways, let's move on. In the co-main, it was a good night for former UFC champions. I'm putting this thing out there. Trained by Trevor Whitman, not all former UFC champions. As Rose Namajunas won a unanimous decision against Miranda Maverick. A lot of scorecards were all over the place. A lot of people had Maverick up 2-0. How did you score the fight?
I gave Maverick the second round only. First and third went to Rose.
First and third went to Rose. Okay, that's exactly how I had it. I had and to me, like Maverick came back back late in the second round to win that one. I checked
Yep.
MMA decision. It was 9-2 on MMA decisions. So so they kind of most people agreed with us. But I can, if someone wants to score it for Maverick, they want to give the first 2 rounds to Maverick. Okay, I'm okay with that. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know how I felt about Rose's. I'm kind of on the fence. To me, if I was grading just her performance, I'd give it a C. What I liked about Rose is one, I liked more output. That was one big thing I've been saying recently as I move up to flyweight. Her output has really diminished. I like that she had a lot more output in the feet, came out a lot more aggressive. I think some of that might have been the opponent. They've trained together, and I'm assuming she probably got the better of the two, which is why she came out. She seemed way more confident early on. She came out very aggressive. It's probably something they did in training. Another thing I like that she used her wrestling. I've always said it is such a underutilized tool of Rose's game. I think she's really good. Now, the bad, and it's still my issue with her at flyweight, is she doesn't have power at flyweight. And she used to be not the hardest hitter at strawweight, but one of the harder hitters at strawweight. And that just simply is not the case at flyweight. How do you feel? Like I'm politicianing a little bit. I'm riding down the center. Are you pro Rose? You're like, yeah, she looked great tonight. She's back. She can make a run. Or are you like, she had a close run.
You said that you gave her a C, and I would give her a higher grade than that. I would say it was closer to a B, just because she did a lot of the things that you were saying that she needed to do. You know, the volume, namely, being amongst them, and I was surprised at how effective her wrestling was for a period of time. But you know, like you said, there's the lack of power. I think that's going to prevent her from being a legit contender within the division. And then there's also the that's true. The fact that I think she got overconfident with her grappling in a couple of areas, and Miranda was just able to bully her in a couple of ways. Came very close to finishing the fight in the second round, I think, with that arm triangle.
Yeah, I just think it was like a weird scramble, and she was trying to get the submission herself. It was a weird scramble, and like I almost feel like Miranda just fell right into it. And if that same situation happened 9 out of 10 times, she's not even in that position. That said, I almost feel I'm going to give Maverick like a B+ for her performance. And again, it's like a different scale. Like and obviously I thought Rose won, so people would be like, Keith, how could you give Maverick a higher grade if she lost? It was more like where I feel higher on her than I did last week when we were doing the preview. To me, like she did more in a loss to impress me than Rose did in a win. And again, could have been fluky to get that headed on track, maybe, but no. The one thing about Rose, and even in her run, no one out grapples her. Not since the Carlos Esparza first fight on Tough that I can remember.
Yeah, no, there's a lot of truth to that. I agree with you. Miranda's definitely, she exceeded expectations for relative to where I had him entering the fight. I 100% agree with you. I figured Rose would largely stay on the outside, just kind of pot shot her here and there, not give Miranda the opportunity to get going in the pocket. But Miranda kind of forced her way in there, and she also had some. They had some fun grappling exchanges. I think I'm not 100% sure what happened. I missed it at the end, what it was that injured Maverick. Did you see? Because you saw her get up hobbled.
So she got dropped with a jab, and I think what happened was she got jabbed and got stumbled, and I think as she stumbled, I think her knee kicked out on her. Like I wouldn't be surprised if she has like a strained meniscus. I don't think she has like a tear. She could have something minor, but I think in the moment, I think her knee just buckled on her. I don't think she was hurt. It was a jab, and so for me, like people were like, "What are you talking about? You said Rose showed no power. She dropped her in the third round." Again, I feel like it was more flukish. Not it was a clean punch, but it was a jab, and it wasn't the hard jab. And I think it's just the way the thing was, and Maverick trying to react to it and She did get quite a little bit by surprise. I just think her knee just gave out on her. I mean, even when she fell, it looked like it was more of an injury than a hurt. Just to answer Antoine Willis's, who is Dayne Fox's favorite basketball player? You seem like a power forward or center kind of guy.
Okay, so when it comes to Keith talking about Jordan and LeBron, I'm 100% with him. Jordan. It has to be Jordan. I think that Jordan played in the toughest, roughest era and just dominated it.
Wow.
And
I might disagree about that, but okay. When it was tough, he was getting swept by the Pistons, but okay.
When he hit his full maturity, though, he denied Patrick Ewing, he denied Reggie Miller, he denied Clyde Drexler. Drexler did eventually get it, but he denied Charles Barkley. He denied Carl and John. He denied Peyton. Denied Cam.
Yeah, I'm gonna make an argument for LeBron real quick, even though I'm not a LeBron guy. And after I said we're not gonna go, if you want to make a pro LeBron argument, this is the argument you make. Plain and simple, LeBron James dominated the NBA for 20 years. Michael Jordan did not dominate. He dominated almost twice as long as Michael Jordan did. The other argument is, yeah, they had to make super teams to beat LeBron James. Say whatever you want. The Golden State Warriors team is with Curry and with Durant and all them is way better, not close than any team Jordan ever beat. Not even close. It's laughable to say. It's absolutely laughable to say that the Utah team wouldn't have won a single Utah Jazz with Malone and Stockton wouldn't have won a single game against that Golden State Warriors team. Anyways, we're going down this road. And I'm a Jordan guy. I'm a Jordan guy. I'm just saying.
It depends upon the rule set. There's no way in hell that I think a team from the last, we'll say 15 years would be able to deal with the physicality of the 90s.
They wouldn't have
but
to.
At the same time, better athletes of nowadays. Anyway,
they wouldn't have to. The speed they have, the speed they'd get around. The teams of the 90s wouldn't know what to do when Steph Curry's pulling up at the half court line and banging threes. They wouldn't have a clue what to do. Anyways, we're not.
We could.
And I'm not even a LeBron guy, but all right, I'll make one last argument. I'm gonna make one last argument for LeBron. If you rank your all-time greatest basketball players of all time, and LeBron isn't number 2, at least number 2 or higher, you're just a LeBron hater. You're just a LeBron hater. There's no argument for anybody else over LeBron. Don't give me Kobe. There's nothing. The Kobe did not touch the NBA like LeBron did. Not close. It's laughable. To me, it's completely laughable to say. People like Kobe's personality more, but his actually skills is what he did in the NBA was not close to LeBron. He wasn't even the best player on his team. When he won his championship runs, he wasn't even the best player on his team.
He was in 2009 and 2010.
Yeah, that's like 3P with Shaq. It was Shaq's team. Anyways, he was
the 3P was Shaq's team, but yeah, man.
LeBron was never the Robin, ever. When he came in at 18 years old, he was anyway. But after I said we're going off.
He was losing his hair, man. There's no way. I mean, Rodman had the colored hair. LeBron was losing his hair. There's no way he could be Rodman.
Yeah. Anyways, let's matchmake real quick. So Maverick's still only 27. I think she had a good showing. That said, that division to me, it's the best women's division. 125.
Oh, yeah.
The deepest. I feel like she's got to be the test for somebody else. And it's weird that I'm going to match her against someone older than her, but she's still to me, seems like the veteran of the two.
Mm-hmm.
It's time for Evan to Wayne Kong tonight. I'm giving a Wayne Kong.
I was leaning towards the loser of Araujo and Cortez.
Okay.
But I kind of think where you're going for makes a lot of sense because Kong hasn't really faced somebody that's going to ground her the way that Maverick would. So
yeah, that's what to take her down and everything, and
yep.
And then obviously the striking of Wayne Kong and the power. To me, Rose has a lot of options, but one really jumps out to me. I'm going to let you give you a chance first to say your name and see if we agree. Someone already said the name that I was coming up with. So what do you got for Rose?
I'll admit I didn't see the names on the comments, but I'm thinking Alexa Grasso.
Ooh, I don't mind that one. That was actually one of the names I looked at. I'm giving her Macy Barber. You got, and the reason why they were booked against each other last summer and it didn't happen. Macy, obviously, to me, I think she takes a big step back, even though she didn't, technically lose to Erin Blanchfield. To me, what happened to her, and again, there could not even be an option. Whatever's going on with Macy Barber couldn't even be an option. This is my no knowledge of the situation. Just on the rule of the world, no one can say no. Everything's perfect. No one's injured. Nobody's sick. Nobody's nothing. That's what I'm doing. I'm reporting saying Mason needs to want to. Yeah, that's also. And you know what? I did say what 2 weeks ago that she has to fight at 135. So I'm report got me on that, and he's actually right. So you got me there. It's 250. You're right. You're right. So I'll give Dayne that one. So we'll go with Lex Cross, and that works. Before that, I said I had I still had a winning record, but still I had an overall bad night. The worst call of my night was my Edmund Shabazian versus Andre Petroski. Me and Ben picked the consensus upset pick of Andre Petroski. I thought Petroski was going to whoop Edmund Shabazian. I couldn't have had this is one of the worst reads I've ever had. And guys, I'm not that guy. I'm not that guy to be like, oh, I'm some girl. I don't pretend to be. I'm not like this. And people are like, oh, dude, your bet the whole house record sucks. Yeah, because you know why? I'm not betting the negative. It was like, oh, my most confident pick. Okay, could I would have took freaking I can't think of his name. The guy who smashed Chris Matino. But yeah, no, I'm trying to pick. I picked an underdog. That's having balls, guys. But man, what a terrible read that was. Everything I expected the fight to go was nothing like what Petroski did.
It's a half and half situation. Petroski did not fight smart, but Shabazian had the most complete performance of his career by far.
Absolutely. The Petroski pick is at least is not as bad as his LeBron take. I'm not even a LeBron guy. I'm just making the argument for those who are LeBron guys. But LeBron at number 2, you put him past number 2. You're just that I will stand to. You put LeBron past number 2, you're just a hater of LeBron. Like that's silly. Yeah. Like, to talk about Shabazian, I thought it was a very intelligent. He fought at his range. He fought at his pace. The big thing about him is he gasses out. It was a controlled pace. It was slow. He didn't really have to work hard. And what really impressed me was his get-up game. I mean, Petroski didn't have the best entries and the best takedowns, but even when he did get it down, Shabazian was popping right back to his feet. There was no control, Petroski. And on the other hand, what I expected Petroski to press the action, get in the pocket, throw a lot of bombs, set up his entries. Instead, he did a lot of times where he would work to get inside. He'd get inside, he'd land one punch and then back right back out. I'm like, dude, you want to be inside. What are you doing?
Yep. Yeah.
Anything else you want to say about this fight?
Shabazian's still only 27, which blows my freaking mind because there were people who were writing him off, 3 years ago? So the kid's got talent. He's still got a long ways to go as far as his ceiling, as far as I'm concerned. And it looks like he's undoing some of the stuff that Edmund Taverdian was teaching him because it looked like he, the muscle memory was there. The stuff that he was doing wasn't, oh, wait, I need to remember to do this. It was just coming to him. So I think that he's still got a ways to go. Like, whenever somebody decides to wreck a pace on him, that's what I'm really curious to see now at this point. Not if he can go 3 rounds, but if he can go 3 hard rounds, because he's proven he can go 3 now.
Yeah, and some people are asking Tiga that I'm butchering that name, but is asking credit to Extreme Couture. Yeah, I mean he's 2-0 since going to Extreme Couture. He's had 2 really good performances. I mean, I don't know if this was really good, but this is the best win, like best name I think on his. Well, Brett Tavares was, but like of recently that he's beaten. Yeah, I would go and say that when you showed that you could be a talent, and you had moments with Edmund Taverdian as your coach, like the worst team. One of the worst coaches, and you show that talent. What happens when you go to one of the best coaches and one of the best teams? And it's like
Yep.
you kind of wonder, is like, damn, did he waste a couple of years? If he should have been there earlier. So, yeah, he's only 27. He's kind of making people believers. I give him a lot of credit. Before that, he said it was a good night for former champions. It wasn't a perfect night, as former bantamweight champion Cody Garbrandt took on Hani Barcelos, me and Ben's favorite fighter, or one of our all-time favorite fighters. I'll start with Barcelos. Barcelos won a unanimous decision. I would go to my grave. Like, my wife would be like, we're gonna have this moment. I'm gonna be like in my deathbed on hospice, and I'm gonna like wave her to come close to me to say one last thing, and she's gonna whisper, and she's gonna think I'm saying like, I love you forever or something. I'm gonna say, Honey Barcelos is so underrated. And then I'm gonna die. Oh, honey, always remember to bet on Barcelos.
Dude, I'll bet you that most of the people in the comments are going to be like, nah, Keith's dying words are going to be LeBron's the greatest.
No. Dude, you're talking about a guy who like hates the police and shit. And like, I'm not a LeBron guy. But
I know, but dude, you opted to defend him, so
yeah. We'll go with the Garbrandt, and obviously he's a bigger name, but what do you think of Barcelos?
To be honest with you, like, it isn't just this performance; it was his performance against Talbot as well. In that Barcelos he's looked good in the third round, because even when Hani Barcelos was criminally underrated, I don't think he is so much now. I think he's come to earth a little bit, but for a while, I do believe that he was. He still would tend to fade in the third, and that really hasn't been a problem the last couple of bouts. So I don't know what he's done specifically, if he's slowed down his pace a little bit. Well, I know that he's done that, or if there's something that he's changed with his conditioning, with his diet, or whatever. But I think that he's improved his performances in the third round, even beyond just slowing his pace a little bit. He's been looking really good, looking really effective. It's not that he's just holding down his opponents either. So,
yeah, I was trying to pull up his age real quick. He's old. He's like, what's he, like 37, 38, something like that?
I think he's 38. Yeah.
Yeah, he's 38. Dude, he looks better at 38 than he did at 35.
Yeah.
You know? So let's talk about Garbrandt for a second, because again, guys, I don't think Hani Barcelos is going to go on run or anything like that. I just think like
No.
he's your borderline top 15 guy that no one's ever really viewed as a top 15. Other than I think me and Ben for a while, but Garbrandt, I mean, to me, Garbrandt's going to be one of the biggest what ifs. That's what I'll say about it. He'll be one of the biggest what ifs that have actually accomplished a lot. Like, obviously winning a UFC title and still being a what if that makes sense. It's like him and Vitor for me. You know, like the talent.
Yeah.
The talent was one point there. Was it TJ Dillashaw completely wrecked his career with a win? Could it be a confidence thing? Could it be, the neck surgeries and all that? I think it's like check all of above. I think it's like at this point, and I kind of feel like I'm saying something out in the universe that doesn't need to be said. I think there's nobody left. But if you do still believe in Cody Garbrandt, there's no reason. To me, the only thing he has left, he still has good hand speed.
And the thing is, there's kind of a weird history with people touching the sun at bantamweight and then just going off a cliff. Like Garbrandt went off a cliff. Henan Barao went off a cliff. Marlon Moraes was this close from claiming the bantamweight title, and he fell off a cliff. It's weird with bantamweight, how there's people that they touch the sun and then they're gone.
Yeah, the two Brazilians, I have my suspicions why, and
I get where you're coming from with that.
Garbrandt, and I should have said this when we talk about check the boxes when the other suspicion, because he said it himself. He slipped it once. Remember in a like press conference about all the stuff that TJ Gahada's doing. So yeah, I would check that box for him too. But when I look at this guy at this point, all he has hand speed. His power is going. Not that he was, he was knocking guys out on his rise to the title, but like it's like the power isn't there, the durability isn't there, the cardio. I mean, he slowed down in the third round in a fight that was early on was kind of a slower paced fight, and then his fight IQ is. I mean, he put himself in the second and third round pretty much in no position to win because he put himself in the one track. He hated the pressure. He gave himself where he couldn't really throw offense, but then also gave himself no chance to exit left and right. I'm like, why would you do that, dude? I just I don't know. I'm not gonna matchmake Garbrandt. To me, it's like pointless. Throw him against anybody. It doesn't matter. Like if you want to get you want to get him to get absolutely destroyed by somebody, sure, go get him destroyed by somebody like some prospect, or throw him against whatever name you want. In my opinion, Jaime Barcelos called out Rob Font. I don't mind that call at all. I'm gonna give him that.
I don't mind it, but I don't think that they're going to give him that just because Font still has enough name value that I think they would rather feed Font to somebody who's up and coming. So I would love to give Barcelos that, but they won't.
I think he beats Rob Font too.
I think he would too, but I don't think that they're going to.
Let's move on.
Yeah.
So those were what the top. What we just cover the top 4 fights. Nothing too unusual. Now we're gonna hit like a range where it's gonna get pretty unusual for a second. The next fight, classic Cody Brundage type ending. It seems like this guy's like always around weirdness. He's like,
yes,
but Cody Brundage took on Mansour Abdul Malik. Abdul Malik winning by technical decision. The fight ended. Well, first of all, let's talk about the actual fight. The fight sucked, except for one 15-second flurry at the very beginning of the third round. And then Abdul Malik came in to land a big shot, and they clashed heads. Garbrandt went down. Malik followed with strikes. They originally stopped the fight for a TKO for Abdul Malik. When they re-looked at it, they took away all of us who picked Abdul Malik win by TKO, instead turned into a technical decision. What's your thoughts on technical decision? So those who don't know, if the fight gets to the third round, they score the first 2 rounds, and then that portion, depending, it could be 1 second in the third round, which to me is insane. Here's my thing. If it's 1-1 and I go in the third round, say me and you are fighting each other. You won the first round, I won the second round. And I take you down immediately to start the third round. What's stopping me from accidentally punching the ball so hard that you can't continue to fight, but now I just won the fight? Because you know what? The only offense of the fight was me taking you down in the third round. And you score that as a win of the round for me.
I get what you're saying. But it's an imperfect solution to a problem that doesn't have a perfect solution.
I know. No, you're right. I don't know what the solution is. To me, no other sport would you be like, imagine the NFL game stopping in the fourth quarter of a 10-7 game. They stop in the fourth quarter and they're like, yeah, I know there's 13 minutes left in the game, but we're just gonna call it now.
Well, if it's in Philadelphia and the fans are throwing shit on the field, then yeah, that's perfectly plausible. But
okay, it's just to me, it's just one of the flaws in MMA, and I don't think Abdul Malik, a guy who is undefeated and looked like a prospect, I don't think he looked good tonight.
No, he didn't. No, it's like Abdul Malik is one of those that when he was on Contender Series, I thought, oh yeah, no, this guy looks like he's going to be something special. I wonder if he's needing more seasoning, and lo and behold, 3 fights into the UFC, and oh my gosh, he still needs so much more seasoning. It's like, I understand why they have the Contender Series. I understand that they want to snatch up this talent before the PFL snatches them up. But oh my good hell, somebody like Abdul Malik needs so much more time on the regional scene. Like, he could have used another year or 2 before the UFC called him up. And yeah, I don't like seeing them develop them within the UFC, so to speak, but they kind of don't have a choice.
Yeah, I agree. And the guy's 9-0, and he is. Oh man, and then and the narrative for a lot of people was like, yeah, he definitely needs more season, and he only has 9 fights. He's going to go against Cody Brundage. He's a true UFC veteran who's got a lot of experience. He showed he's not ready for this level. This is why he should get more season. I totally agree with you. But it's funny how the narrative changes when somebody else beats Cody Brundage with even less fights. And Cody Brundage was a tomato can when that happened. He was a tomato can. And it's not real UFC. He's a plumber and all that nonsense. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. And then what was it? Two fights later, you're supposed to fight Renier Derrida. Just saying. Anyways, moving on. Before that, probably the most horrendous fight. And there was a lot of one tonight, but Alonzo Manafield beat Umar Sy. The fight was absolutely horrendous. I think Chris Martino hitting the canvas was a better punch, better strike than anything that led to this fight. And these are supposed to be 2 power hitters. I didn't want to talk about this fight. How did you score it? Because it was very close.
If I remember correctly, I think I gave the second round to Sy, and that's it. The first and third were Manafield.
Yeah, we had the same way. It was 9-2 on enemy decisions. Anything else you want to say about this fight? Because I'm ready. To me, this was a terrible performance for Sy. This is undefeated. He's a massive favorite.
I think Sy's been living off of the name of his brother. I'm not saying that he's a bad prospect, but I don't think he was this uber prospect that a lot of people were hyping him up to be when the UFC signed him.
And then I said, I said Cody Brundage always is in the weirdest fights. Paul Craig is like, don't forget about me. I also have those ones. Paul Craig took on Hidalgo Bellado, a fight that keeps getting booked. It won't happen. This fight ended in no contest. Okay, let's talk about this. And I know you agree with me. Paul Craig, he offered. We'll get to the really weird shit in a second, but to me, Paul Craig offers nothing in the UFC. To me, he's like, I'm done with his gimmick. I'm done with his stare downs. It super intense thing, and it's like, dude, you're not a good fighter. I'm good.
Yeah, no, he's got name value, so I can see where they keep him around. Okay, so this guy beat Paul Craig because Paul Craig has wins over Magomed Ankalaev. He's the only person who has a win over Magomed Ankalaev, and he's got a win over Jamal Hill, a former light heavyweight champion. So he does have some name value. I can see the UFC keeping him around to give somebody a name to build off of, which is what they were trying to do here.
Yeah. I love it. I was watching his pre-fight and pre-interview, and he was like, "Yeah, he's going to see why I'm a Scottish warrior." And I'm like, "Dude, everyone has seen you fight poker. That's a Scottish warrior." And I was thinking, no wonder why you guys were slaves to England for friggin' century. That's what. Fucking William Wallace ain't walking through that door. Paul Craig is.
Yeah. I would just love it if he would yell, "You'll never take my freedom!" But
yeah, that scene where the big scene in Braveheart where Mel Gibson is giving the speech and they're like, "Will you fight?" And they're like, "No, we won't fight. We'll run and we'll live." Paul Craig wouldn't be that guy. He probably should be, but he wouldn't be that guy. But you know what he'd be? When they start running towards these. Well, hold on. Antoine Willis says he still hasn't seen Braveheart. Okay, stop watching this show and watch that immediately. But they start, and I'm about to spoil this for you. They start running, like the Scottish and the British run at each other. Paul Craig would be the one who leading the charge with a sword in his hand, let's do it for freedom. And then as soon as he gets in, he just gets his head cut off immediately. That would be Paul Craig.
He might be one of those guys that trips and falls because his offense is so much better on the ground. So no, he's not even going to make it that far.
Yeah, if there's a log in between him and the British, he can't get over it. He can't. Yeah, get over it.
If he did try to run, he'd probably trip and fall anyway. So he can't do that. He's doomed. So he's got to stand his ground and fight.
All right, let's get to the big story. And if for some reason, if you're watching this recap show and maybe you only watch some of the later fights. You have to watch this fight. Not often do I tell people they have to watch a Paul Craig fight, but you have to watch this one. As there was Paul Craig was on the ground in Bellato was standing over him, landing like ground. Bellato was on all fours to land. At one point, he has like one knee off the ground, one knee on the ground, and Paul Craig absolutely blasts him with an up kick, completely illegal up kick. But Bellato kind of falls back, does what everybody always does, and go like to the referee, and then instantly somehow got knocked out 1 second later, and then wakes up. He doesn't know where he is. He's fighting the referees. Dane, you've watched a lot of MMA. I have watched a lot of MMA. As far as I know, you're not a neurologist or anything like that. I'm not. Was this like some weird thing that your brain can do if you get damage to it, or was this some friggin' acted type shit going on?
Okay, so Dev's in the comments. You can ask him. I was the biggest one in the on the Slack channel saying, "Was this acting?" I cannot tell because I thought I saw him motioning towards the ref after he got kicked, like it's illegal, and so I'm like, I need to see that again because the way that he went down, he wakes up, he's got fear in his eyes, like he saw a ghost or something like that, and I'm like, whoa, either Bellato actually got knocked out, or he should forget about cage fighting and go to Hollywood because he is a fantastic actor. What the hell? I honestly don't know. I was trolling through X during the fights to see what other people thought. I saw people posting when Barbosa knocked out Shane Burgos and just how there was a disconnect between his body and his brain. And I'm like, I guess that's possible. I don't know, but I've never seen somebody go down like that, motioning towards the ref like, what the hell? And then 1 second later, they're out. I don't know. This was one of the weirdest sequences I've ever seen in anything.
Yeah, it's weird. So when I first saw it, I didn't see him look at the ref, and I saw it, and I was like, oh my god, they show Craig, and then when they come over to Bellato, and he's like out of it, and he's wrestling the referee, and I'm like, oh damn, he's hurt bad. I'm like, obviously, this fight's over. And the referees, the doctors get called in. They're talking to him like, no, like this fight's over. Like he was knocked out. And then they suddenly show the actual replay, and I'm like, oh shit! Like, was he acting? And I'm sitting there, and I'm like, dude, that's like some friggin' Mackenzie Dern fake accent level. Like he just kept going with it. I don't know. I don't want to say he was faking it. I will say this: I've never seen anything like that before.
No, exactly, and
yeah, I don't know, Mr. Bellato. What I was going to say though, he didn't have to because he was winning, and he was winning every moment, and he might have just took away his win bonus by doing it.
But at the same time, you're in the midst of a fight. You know that something illegal just happened. And, despite what the referees ruled, that was not an accidental upkick. That was a purposeful upkick.
Yeah, we'll get to that in a second.
So, these guys want to win no matter the cost. And maybe he's thinking, oh, I'm about to get an easy win, especially if I act it up. I don't know. Because Tristan Christianfield had the exact same argument that you said. He had no reason.
Who's that?
Tristan Critchfield, he's on our he's with Sherdog. Anyway,
never heard of him.
Anyway,
must be some nobody.
Well, people usually refer to me that way.
I know who he is.
I know that. I know. It took me a second after, but yeah. Anyway, but yeah, in the midst of a fight, you're not necessarily thinking clear. You're just thinking, "Ooh, I've got this advantage. I might be able to fool the referee." I mean, Josh Koscheck did it how many times successfully? So, I can see where fighters think that they might be able to get away with that. I remember one fight where Mike Pyle played possum, and his opponent walked right into a knockout. There's times where it happens. I do think most of the time it doesn't, but
yeah, Scott Smith did it.
Yeah.
Obviously, the most famous one, the Scott Smith knockout of Pete Sell. This, yeah, it could have been some of this. I will say this though, regardless if it was real, if it was fake. Again, I'm leaning very heavy on the he played it up and it's fake. But he did a really good job. Other than that, one time when we looked at the ref, like he is like his reaction was actually pretty good. Even like he jumped up all spazzing out. So there might be some truth to it. I don't know, but regardless of whether he was faking it or not, and he might have been really hurt, and he wasn't out, and he's like, "Oh fuck, I'm fucked up," and then he kind of played it up a little bit. It doesn't matter. It was still an illegal up kick. It's regardless if he was faking it or not, that fight should not have been ruled a no contest. That should have been a disqualification.
Yep. I'm 100% with you on that.
And it should always be called a disqualification. What is that? You know what an accident is? If me and you accidentally bump into each other, walk into a supermarket, like, oh, I'm sorry. But if I kicked you in the face and go, oh, you know what? I thought you were on both feet. Well, that's not an accident. I still wanted to kick you in the face.
We actually have a perfect example of what is an accident from this card. When Abdul Malik and Brundage bumped heads, that was an accident.
Yes, that's a good point.
That was an accident.
Intention. Yeah, he was intending to land a big shot. Yeah, that's a very good point. Nice job. That's why you're the best. That's why we can't have you on the game, because you make us look bad. So,
bull crap.
All right, let's move on. This is the point. We're going to take a little break from the fights. We're going to do some fun stuff. We're going to make it a little quicker than usual. This question was brought into us. They want us to rank the 4 seasons. And I'm not talking about the singers with Frankie Valli. I'm talking about winter, spring, summer, and fall. I'm going to put you on the spot. I want you to tell me what your 4. You got it right, and everyone put in the chat where they're number 1 being your favorite season, number 4 being your worst. Dane, what is your least favorite season and why?
I got to go with winter. It's a pain in the ass to get back to and from work when there's plenty of snow on the ground. I mean, fortunately, last few winters in Utah have been pretty light, so it hasn't been too big of a deal. Not necessarily because I hate driving in the snow, but I don't trust other people driving in the snow. And that end, it's just so dreary, you know. I like having some sun out there. Just less depressing that way.
Yeah. So I'll go back. Let's go back and forth. So my least favorite is also winter. I hate shoveling snow. I like Christmas. Christmas is fun. Even though I'm not big in receiving gifts, but like doing traditions with my kids and stuff is fun. I like playing in the snow with my kids, making a snowman or going the least favorite season 8 of Game of Thrones. Nice job. Juice X has a nice one. I like doing that, but like warming up the car. And if I get cold, if my feet get cold, I feel it all day, which is like kind of like, with my house, because my wife's from Canada and she just keeps it freezing all the time. Like when I walk in my bedroom, she has the door closed because I'm doing the show. And then because of her, she has an 8. I don't know if my wife knows that you don't have to put the AC all the way on full blast and have the fan on. But I've gone into ice freezes that it's not going to be as cold as the bedroom I'm in. And anyways, that's just my wife's crazy. But yeah, I agree. Which is my least favorite. What is your third? What's number 3 for you?
Summer.
Really?
Summer.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
No, I don't like extremes in my weather, and with summer, it can be way too freaking hot, which also limits the places that I would want to vacation. It's like, okay, where do we want to go? Do you want to go down to Texas? No, too freaking hot. Don't want to do that you want to go to Disneyland? No, too hot. Disney World, too hot. No, I don't want to go to those places during the summer.
If you shave the beard a little bit, it'll be a little cooler.
Actually, the beard doesn't bother me one bit. It's always been the head.
The head?
And I needed to. Yes. And the problem is,
you got to put some sunblock on that thing.
Yes. Like I when I'm working outside, I'm usually wearing a bandana or something like that, just so I'm not getting sunburned. And I don't know, my wife thinks I'm trying to make some sort of a fashion statement. I'm like, no, I'm not a badass or anything like that. I just don't want my head to get burned. And bandanas are a lot more breathable than the hats. So
yeah. So my third is going to be spring. And so things I like about spring, I like when it's like your first 65-degree day after it's been 40s. Like that's always nice. And like softball, my daughter's softball starting. I like that. But it's the rain, like nonstop rain all the time. All of April's raining. The pollen comes out. So I'm going to say my third is spring. All right, what's your number two?
Yep. Spring is number two. And it has less to do with the rain. I actually kind of like the rain. Rain's fun for me, but which is kind of funny for me to say because I'm like the winter's too dreary. But I usually there's enough sun in the spring, and you mix that in with the rain. Just kind of a nice little balance there for me. Don't need to blast your air conditioning in the car. You don't need to blast the heater either. Spring's got some nice weather with regards to that. So, yeah.
All right. What is your number? So wait, you just said spring is your number two.
Spring's number two. So, yeah, what's your number two?
Obviously, fall's number one for you. So, my number two is fall. And so what I like about fall is, well, first of all, I love Oktoberfest beer. So like the Sam Adams Oktoberfest is my favorite. Like I like all the Sam Adams ones, but the Oktoberfest is my favorite. Start of football, that is always fun. I'm a big football fan, and I like carving pumpkins with my kids and stuff. What I don't like obviously I don't like raking leaves. I get pine trees, so I have to rake pine needles. Anybody who's ever raked up pine needles and raked up leaves, don't ever bitch about leaves. Pine needles is 100 times worse. But anyways, that's one thing I don't like. The other, all right, ready? I'll give you one. I don't like Halloween decorations, other than like a pumpkin outside your house. I think like someone having like I have a neighbor has this like gigantic skeleton in their thing, and it just to me it looks so stupid, cheap, and you get some freaking goblin with his eyes turning green as you walk by the house. Like that's just I think it's like just put a pumpkin in front of your house. Maybe a little scarecrow thing. But anyway, but overall, I'd say fall. So your number one is fall. That's because you like jumping in the car with your pumpkin spice latte. You're a big fall foliage guy. I know that.
Actually, no, that is part of it. I love the colors with fall. That's actually probably the main thing that pushes it above spring because spring and fall, there's not too big of a difference.
Who the hell rakes pine needles? Anybody who has pine trees in their yard, dude. So you don't want to have all these pine needles all over the place. That's why. And it's terrible for your grass. Very acidic. Come on, dude. Anyway,
no, I do have some pine trees. And Keith's not wrong. I do try to mow up most of them, mulch them. But some of them you can't get with the mower mulcher. So, yeah, there is reason to rake them up. Anyway, but I'm actually going to kind of counter you with regards to some of the Halloween decorations. Like, I don't necessarily want to call them a neighbor, but I drive by their place whenever I'm going to work. And they've got those sets of skeletons that you're talking about. But every single day, they're doing something different. Like, one day they'll have them all in a canoe. Another day they'll have them sitting around playing poker. They mix them up every single day. So that kind of stuff, I'm like, ooh, I like driving by to see what you've got going. So that's actually a bonus for me. I like that stupid kind of crowd.
I'll give you another thing about fall. Thanksgiving is super overrated.
Oh, dude, I hate Thanksgiving. It is
I like all the food. But like whatever. Be thankful, but like the actual I can't wait to eat turkey. It's like, yeah, that's cool.
Well, no, exactly, but it's also just the attitude towards it. Like most people started referring to it as Black Friday weekend. It's like, no, it's Thanksgiving, and then the idea is that we're supposed to give thanks, and then the next day we're beating the crap out of each other to get crap that we don't need.
Yeah.
No, dude, that's bull crap. So I'm ripping on my own season right now, but no, Thanksgiving or fall is most definitely my favorite.
All right, so because of your neighbors and their
That's
their
not the only reason. I said that. I said I was gonna take it to you on that, but that's all good. That's all
the
good.
skeletons in the canoe got you number one on your rankings.
Yeah, you're damn
to
right.
Me, to me, it's like winter is like way down on the list, and then like spring and fall is like in the middle, and then there's like a massive, huge gap. And to me, it's summer, and it's like there's nothing. It's like Demetrius Johnson, and then the next best flyweight. It's not even close to me. It's summer by far. I mean, yeah, I get hot. I get it, dude. I'll drink some lemonade. I'll jump in a pool. I'll whatever. I'll put on the AC. I'm good.
I try to spare mankind having to lay eyes on my body. So no, I'm not going to jump into a pool, dude. They don't want to look at that.
No, my favorite things is summer. I do a huge 4th of July. It's my favorite day of the year is my 4th of July cookout I do at my house. I have like all my closest friends and family. All of them come. We do. It's an all day thing. So, and by the way, if anybody's anywhere close to like Southern New England, you want to come over my house, open invitation to anybody who's watching this show who wants to come over. Reach out to me. You come to my 4th of July. I'm telling you, you'll have a great time. And it's an all-day thing where we got fire going tonight. I'm drinking the beers. I'm wearing funny American flag stuff. So I love camping. I love going to softball and all my favorite things, hiking and biking. And to me, it's
Americana.
Yeah, my wife has the summer off. My kids have the time off. To me, it's summer. I'm going camping this week. I love summer. So, anyways, let's wrap up the rest of these fights. The fight that Dayne has been calling for years and years and years, saying he wanted to see. He wanted to see a striking battle between Michael Chiesa and Court McKee, two decorated grapplers, and we got this low output kickboxing match. This fight sucked.
Oh yeah. yeah. No. In the Sherdog Slack, Dev was trying to claim that. Hey, no, I am. I do not live in Washington. I live on the Washington-Idaho border. I am not claiming Chiesa. I am from Idaho. I live in the same county as Court McKee. I cannot disclaim him from this fight. He's one of mine. But in all honesty, I love Court McKee. He's a great guy, but oh boy, he's getting by fighting geriatrics, MMA geriatrics. Court's 40. Tim Means is in the neighborhood of 40. Mike Chiesa is pushing 40 at this point. Either, shit or get off the pot. Put him against somebody who's young and up and coming, and let's see if he can still go against them.
Oh, I'm not believing. I mean, he's on a 3-fight win streak. To me, it's like it's faker than Mark Kerr's resume to get in the UFC Hall of Fame. Like it's bad. I'm doing the opposite. I'm booking him against Gilbert Burns because I think he loses to Ullman. I think Gilbert Burns beats him. That's what I'm doing. Who you
Chiesa?
A young guy? Yeah, who are you giving Chiesa?
Oh, that's right. I decided I kind of wanted to be mean, so I said I put him against Renat Fakhretdinov.
There you go. There you go. You said you talked about someone from your local town. I had my own local guy, Chris Motino, take on local from Atlanta, Malcolm Wellmaker, as Wellmaker knocked out Motino in the very first round. I mean, like the Japanese had a better shot at beating the atomic bomb than Martino had of beating Wellmaker. Like, what the hell?
Yeah, no, I watched that fight and I felt like I was watching a Michael Jordan going against a local high schooler. Man, that was just there were levels to that fight, which is sad because Wellmaker's still a prospect, if you get what I mean. Like, yeah. That if oh god, who's the top bantamweight right now? If Sean O'Malley was going against him right now, or Merab, I feel like it would have been just as one-sided. It was pretty sad.
Yeah, it was absolutely terrible. I mean, the one thing that worries me about, I mean, obviously, I agree with you said about Wellbeck. He does look like a legit prospect. He has serious power. I mean, he has had 2 incredible, walk-off KOs. My one worry about him is he looks for so many big shots that I'm worried he's going to gas himself out when he doesn't get one.
Yeah, no, and that's the biggest reason why he's still a prospect is because you can see that not the fight IQ is not quite there yet. Like the talent obviously is, but it's not translating to complete fights yet. He's getting the early finish, but that's only going to last for so long. What does he do when he doesn't get the early finish?
Before that, we said it was a bad night for the consensus upset pick. Our other consensus upset pick, we picked Cody Durden over Jose Ochoa. Ochoa winning by second round TKO. Ochoa looks sensational tonight against a good tough fighter against Cody Durden. I mean, he was accurate, he was fast, he was mixing up the shots, he was working the body, came out aggressive, got the knockout almost immediately in the second round. I mean, dude's super young, and I think I know he's only 1-1 in the UFC, but he looks like an instant contender.
Based on that performance, yes. And I was with you. I thought, why in the hell is Ochoa this big of a favorite? I thought it should have been more like a pick'em. But after that performance, it's like, holy crap! What did I miss with Ochoa that everybody else saw, or is Durden just that shot? Because I didn't think Durden looked shot against his previous opponents. He was facing good competition. Entering this fight, he lost 3 of his last 4, but the one fight he did win, he looked really good against Matt Schnell, I thought. So I thought Durden was going to be a veteran test for Ochoa, and well, he was. But holy crap, Ochoa just passed with flying colors.
Before that, Ricky Simon took on very short notice Cameron Smotherman, so short that me and Ben didn't even preview that fight. We had Charles Jourdain. Ricky Simon showed that he can still wrestle. Whether the verdict on him is he's still like one of the what he was. I don't know if that's true, but he can still wrestle. And to me, Smotherman gave him the exact match he needed. I mean, Smotherman stood right in front of him with a high guard defense. You got to be a moving target against a wrestler or pressure him back. Standing in the middle just was inviting Simone to take him down. And then there was about 90 seconds left in the fight. He finally gets away. In the third round, he's down, and you're down two rounds, but really 3 rounds. You need a knockout, and he shows absolutely no urgency. In his corner at one point, screaming a jab. I said, "Jab, the guy needs to knock him out." I'd be screaming flying knee. I'd be saying knees up the middle when the guys, because Simone keeps dropping down for takedowns. Like you fake something high and throw a knee right up the middle, maybe you catch him. But I don't know. You have anything to say about this fight?
No, not at this time.
Before that, Phil Rowe took on Angelosa. One of the fights that was closest on the betting lines was one of the ones that both me and Ben were saying was a really good matchup. I had Losa up 2-0 heading into the third. How did you have a score? Do you remember?
Yes, I had him up 2-0. I almost gave the second to Rowe.
Okay,
but Losa he had a late flurry in the second. So
yeah. Rowe, I thought he did really deep. I think the pressure he was playing he was fighting a 15-minute fight instead of more by rounds. Mr. C is talking shit about. So that wasn't my state. Chris Martino is not a Rhode Islander. He's from Massachusetts, so it's not my state. But we do invite that whole area. Listen, dude, if you're trying to come in and heckle me about my state, I'll heckle me too, man. New England MMA sucks, dude. So you're not like, you're not breaking any. What's the word I'm looking for? Like solving some mystery, dude. New England MMA sucks.
Nobody's harder on New England MMA than Keith. So yeah,
dude. The one thing I think Losa did wrong when it was about 90 seconds or so of the fight, and he was going to win. I think there was going to be a good chance to be a 10-8 round, might be a draw. But I'm sitting there, I'm like, dude, why don't you shoot? Even if you shoot, you miss a shot, pull guard. Yeah, do the thing where if you shoot, and he blocks it, you like roll to your back, and he like backs away, and you like have to slowly get up. And you waste some seconds, and you throw 2 punches, you do it again, and you just like go into survivor mode, dude.
Yeah, Luce's shown poor fight judgment before in the past, and I think that this is another example of it. Because I think he's got the talent for sure. Like, he's a good athlete, got decent power. He's not a bad grappler. He should.
Pretty good grappler.
Yeah, no, he should be well established within the middle of the pack of the welterweight division, but he's not, and it's because of decision making like that. Yeah.
And the first fight of the night, Vanessa Demopoulos took on Jamie Lynn Harth. I'm literally giving Vanessa Demopoulos a pass on this one. There's no reason. She's an undersized strawweight. There's no reason for her to be fighting flyweight against someone who's big for flyweight. The size difference looked like two sisters got in a fight, and one of the sisters in high school and the other one's in junior high, and they're scrapping up. Like, yeah, that like white trash neighborhood, and you look out that two sisters are scrapping up in the front yard. Like, that's what it looked like. And of course, one of them was a stripper. One of them was a stripper too, so that fits.
Yeah, there's a lot of truth to that. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe that was good about preparation for Demopoulos, because she's got some greasy guys coming at her, and so woman a little bit bigger than her throwing punches at her doesn't scare, so she's just going to run into punch after punch.
Yeah, there was and I think Horth. I mean, it was the right fight for her, but I would give her credit for this, even though she's way bigger and all that. Sometimes people get the right matchup, but don't fight the right way. She fought the right way. Mm-hmm. She jabbed and teep kick. Jab, teep kick, I'm going to win. Jab, teep kick. When she had Demopoulos on her back foot, that's when she threw like combinations where she knew she would be able to close the distance. Once she started coming forward, Demopoulos started coming. It came going back to jab and teep kick. It was a really smart force. I'm not like, oh, look at how good Jimmy Lynn Harth. To me, it's like for take for word store. So there you go. There you have it. Dane, I do not have my phone on me. My phone's over there charging because I forgot. Do you know by any chance what the awards were tonight?
I do not. I am looking it up right now.
Okay, I don't know if JuiceX is still in, but he usually will put it out there. But we'll put the awards if you can find it. We'll pull it back up in a second. All right. So obviously we've covered all 13 fights. We're gonna do some of the fun stuff here at the end. Let's go with a cut list. Do you have how many? So the way
how many do you have?
So the way the cut list works is if both me and Dane have the same name on the cut list, we give the UFC permission to get rid of them. I only have two. I kind of have a rule. If someone takes a fight on short notice, I almost give them a pass. So Cameron Smotherman, I give a pass to. Vanessa Demopoulos, I give a pass to. Especially I was upset. I'm keeping Chris Martino because I'm just like, hey, you want someone to win by spectacular knockout? Chris, give Martino one more time to get brain damage. I'm going with two veterans. I'm getting rid of Court McGee. He's lost 4 of his last 5 fights. Do you have Court McGee on your list?
Yes.
All right. I have one more. This guy didn't even lose tonight. I'm ready to get rid of Paul Craig. The guy's won 1 of his last 7 fights. I'm cutting Paul Craig. Did Mr. Craig make your list?
He did not, actually.
All right. So do you have any other ones?
I had Angelusa on there as well.
Okay.
He does not have a win in his last 3 fights.
Okay. I didn't have Losa, but okay.
And then I understand where you're coming from with regards to not cutting people on short notice, but I think with Demopoulos, it was take this fight or you're going to be released anyway. And so I think that she's probably going to be handed a pink slip and kind of understand. So she was on my cut list.
But then she's got to go back to like the pole, but she's too old. So she's not.
Dude, she wrote a book on it, man.
She's not working at like the classy places anymore. And now she's like working at like the ones where they don't shave their legs and shit. It's like, you can get your oil change at the same time they're dancing around like this. Like it's just, it's just right next door. You're getting your oil change while you're watching, looking at.
Yeah, Mike Fridley updated me on the senior circuit for pole dancing, so I got a good idea of where she's going to end up.
Yeah. So, all right, let's get to the Bulls of the Bear. Oh, do we have the awards yet or no?
I did find it. All right. So, do you want to guess? There's a fight of the night and 2 performances.
All right, fight of the night and 2 performances. I'll give you what I would have done. I
Okay.
think the fight of the night. I'm gonna go with a co-main event. I'm gonna go with Namajunas and Maverick. I do think Rowe and Losa could have made an argument, but I'm gonna go with Namajunas and Maverick. As far as performances, I'm gonna go with Ochoa. That was a big knockout against Durden. I'm also gonna go with Wellmaker. He was this huge, massive favorite. When you get that kind of knockout, I was thinking about Rowe, but still being down 0-2, I don't think you could deserve it. But that's what I would go. Before you tell me the awards, what would you give for awards?
The performances, I 100% agree with you. Ochoa and Wellmacher. Fight of the night, I probably would have. It would have been tough because the first round really sucked with Rowe and Losa, but I probably would have gone with that one just because the last 2 rounds were that much fun, and it got the finish at the end to really make it that satisfying. So.
All right. So what was the official awards?
So the 2 performances we nailed. Ochoa and Wellmacher both got the $50K.
All right.
And I totally disagree with it, but the main event got fight of the night.
Oh, why? The fight wasn't even good. It was kind of boring for the most part.
Yeah,
the last 3 minutes was kind of fun. The rest of the fight was kind of boring. But okay. Okay, whatever. That would have been my top 3 picks, but okay. All right, let's do the Bulls and Bears. The Bulls and Bears is stock market race. You want to be on the Bulls list. You do not want to be on the Bears list. We do it. We do it hockey style. 3, 2, 1. Let's go. You want to go positive? Or you want to go negative?
Let's get the negative out of the way.
All right, so we'll go to the Bears list. You do not want to be on this list. You mind if I go first?
Go.
All right, my number 3. Kind of almost feel like he's been on this list for, I don't know, about 8 years now, whatever it is. I'm going to Cody Garbrandt. I mean, he's lost 7 out of his last 10 fights. I know this is just going to continue to be our narrative, but if you told me that performance he's getting at Stomach Cruz, from that point he's going to lose 7 out of the last 10, I would think you're insane. But Cody Garbrandt's completely washed. My number 2, I'm going to go with Omar C. The guy was a negative 715 favorite. Not only did you lose, but anytime you lose your O in the undefeated column, the O and the 0, the 0 in the loss column, I should say, not a good night. And my number 1, simply because of the division he's in, I'm gonna go Joaquin Buckley. I mean, in that division, you're 1 or 2 wins away from getting a title shot, and now you're probably 4 wins away. Buckley, what do you got?
I actually had I had more than 3 names, and I had all 3 of those names. But here's the other thing that I'll throw out there: the MMA rules. Can we please just legalize up kicks to a downed opponent the way that Craig delivered it? Like, you get rid of that and from being an illegal kick, and the controversy's gone. Villato's out. Craig's the rightful winner. So MMA rules suck, and I hate.
But
go ahead.
Hold on, let me make an argument. Let me give you a LeBron argument. But then we don't have that wonderful performance by Bellato, which to me I think is even better than when Craig knocked him straight out cold.
In that case, Craig would not have knocked him out cold. So
yeah, obviously I'm just joking. So
I get it, but
I totally agree with you.
Yeah,
I've said this for years. I've said this for years. I said it for knees and I've said it for kicks. The easy way to solve it is one of the 2 rules. One I love, one I hate. It's either you allow kicks to all areas of the body, you don't allow kicks anywhere on the body. You allow knees to all areas of the body, you don't let, obviously not count the groin, or all areas of the body. That's it. And obviously I'm not saying don't ban kicks and knees. I'm saying the opposite. Like, the easy way to make it is you're allowed to knee and kick. Done.
Yeah.
Done. Okay. What else do you
have? And then I think that's all that I've got. Yeah, that was all, because you nailed everything else that I had. Actually, Petroski's a good one to throw out there as well. That was not a good performance from Petroski. I don't know where his head was. Did not fight a smart fight. So yeah.
All right, let's go to the Bulls list. So these ones who had a good night. Again, I'll let you kick this one off. So we do hockey style 3, 2, 1. Who's your number 3 bull?
Number 3 was Shabazian. He complete performance, still young. So a lot of people had him written off as somebody who was washed, a la Cody Garbrandt, but Shabazian's made a nice little career turnaround. And if people don't believe that Edmund Taverdian was one of the worst coaches, or still is one of the worst coaches, look what happened to Travis Brown's career after he went to Edmund. So yeah, no, good to see Shabazian on the way up.
Yeah, but then he ended up getting to marry Ronda Rousey. So that might have been a good move for him.
In terms of his life, sure, but his career tanked.
That's probably not his finances, though. At least
Yeah.
Family wise. All right, who's your number 2?
Number 2 was Ochoa. He went from a guy that I was like, yeah, he looks like a decent prospect, to damn, I want to see more of this guy. Just dominant performance. He's definitely on a lot stronger on my radar at this point.
Agreed. And who's your number 1?
Number 1 has to be Wellmacher. He had high expectations put onto him. Took this fight on short notice, and yeah, sure, he was kind of given a tomato can in Moutinho, but he did exactly what he was supposed to do. He's got people talking about him. I mean, a lot of people on the comments are talking about matching him up with Garbrandt next. The fact that they want to make it, see him make his name on his way up. Damn good night for Wellmacher, doing it in front of his friends and family. So yeah, big bull with Wellmacher.
All right, I'll give you my top 3. My number 3, Joe Martinez, the announcer. He's just so much better than Bruce Buffer, especially in the live crowd. I know people sentimental with Bruce Buffer. He's terrible. Joe Martinez just reminds me of how great he is. My number 2, I'm gonna go Hani Barcelos. I mean, the guy's on a 3-fight winning streak. I know it wasn't the best win, but you know what? He's got a big name on his resume forever. So he's got a former champion, his name on his resume, 3-fight winning streak, late in his career. Is it going to end poorly? Of course it will. But in the meantime, he's padding that record a little bit. And my number 1, it's got to be Kamaru Usman. I mean, I don't like going with the main event, guys. I kind of have a rule. If a guy wins the title for the first time, they have to be number 1. But obviously this wasn't the case. But this guy, he was done. People were saying that he's done. Oh, it's going to be bad. He'll never be close. He'll never be top 10 again. How long will last? I don't know. But for at least one night, Kamaru Usman turned back the clocks a little bit. So good job for Kamaru Usman. Let's go to the dude seriously. Do you have any dudes seriously?
I do have a couple of them.
All right, kick it off.
Okay. I saw that I think it was MMA Rex who said that Brandon Fitzsimmons did, or not Fitzsimmons, Fitzgerald did not have a good night, and I totally have to agree. He referred to Ricky Simon as a rising fighter to keep an eye on. No, not really.
30 years.
No, I'm sorry. He is not an up and coming fighter by any means. I mean, yeah, he can hang around for a little while and
I think he was at
climb the ranks a bit more. Yeah, no kidding. And then also, Fitzy was confused about the technical decision with Brundage and Abdul Malik, trying to claim that, yes, they only do that if the fight enters the 3rd round. Said it something like 5 times, and it's like, Fitzy, it entered the 3rd round. You called the whole damn thing.
How about the broadcast team? It took them that long for someone to tell them.
Yeah, yeah.
And Dude, Cruz had no clue who Reno was.
Yeah. And then my last dude, seriously, calling Paul Craig's up kick accidental. No, it was not accidental. He purposely threw the kick. It purposely landed. What the hell? It should not have been a no contest. That should have been a blatant DQ, dude. Seriously.
Yeah, so I had Brandon Fitzgerald on my dude. I like Fitzgerald, but he did not have a good night. So I'll give you a couple other dudes seriously. Cameron Smotherman having about 30 seconds left to get a knockout, and his cornerman screaming, "Get the jab going with 30 seconds left." Like, dude, seriously, that was your advice? Screaming jab as loud as you possibly can. Unless it's like maybe that's like a quite like I'm screaming jab, but I really mean high kick. Paul Filder saying Chris Mutino is a big step up from Cameron Simon for Welton. Dude, Paul, I like Paul Felder, but dude, seriously, Chris Mutino is not a step up in competition. Dominic Cruz, he's terrible. I really believe he's the worst commentator in the UFC. But Dominic Cruz saying, don't blink when talking about the start of the Michael Chiesa Court McGee fight. Like it was going to be a big slugfest between Anthony Rumble Johnson and Derek Lewis. And I'm like, dude, seriously, it's Michael Chiesa and Court McGee. It was either going to be slapping titties or this terrible fight that we had. How about UFC broadcast, dude? Seriously, how about Adam Martin text message tweet covered up the entire screen for 1 minute? Did that happen to you?
Yeah,
yeah. One moment, I should say, not a minute. But dude, seriously, like imagine that happened in the NFL. Just some random guys, and I like Adam Martin, but some like random guys tweet just like the Packers Bears game crashes, and some random guys tweet hits the screen. Like, dude, seriously. And how about this one? Dominic Cruz again. He's talking about how you get higher in the weight classes. It's much easier to get takedowns than it is the leather guys. The leather guys can just turn their legs and pull it out, but like you can't do that at middleweight and light heavyweight and heavyweight. So if he was in those weight classes, it'd be easier for Petroski to get a takedown. Like, dude, seriously, he fights in those weight classes. Dude, seriously.
I miss the salty Dom. Seriously, when he, I always thought that was funny when he was salty with everybody. Like having him and Bisping go back and forth. I don't know who told him to be more pleasant, but it's not as fun.
All right, what was your grade for the card?
Not a very high one. D+.
Yeah, that's the exact one I put. The only reason I'm keeping it, they gave us a lot of stuff to talk about. So I'll agree with you. I think Wellington knockout, the Rowe comeback, the co-main event was good. I think like that stuff kept it from being an F. So I'll go like a D+.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. Always the hardest question tonight. Who is I said I keep this to under 2 hours. I did really well. Hour 15. I got an extra 15 minutes of sleep. But what is well, first of all, I have to go in my bedroom and thaw out first. So it's going to be an ice box in there. No matter how much I complained to her about it. But who's your listener of the night?
There were a couple. I got a kick out of a number of them referring to me as a rogue Dagestani. Mr. C was one of them that did that. He had a couple of them that had me chuckling as well. So I'll go with Mr. C.
Yeah, that is number one bullshit. All right, I'm going to be cheesy, but I'm going to give it to Antoine Willis asking what time I have to wake up. I have to be at the field at 7. So I got to be up at like 6:15. It's what time is it? It's 3:25. I'm be fucking hurt, and I'm probably be at the field all day. So if I'm saying really crazy stuff during the previous show, that's why. I'm gonna say my listen tonight. I'm gonna be really cheesy. I'm gonna give it to all the fathers because it's officially now Father's Day. So happy Father's Day to all the Father's Day. Any listeners who are fathers, thank you for being a father. So have a great father. I know for me, it's like the best honor in the world to be a father. So and that's why I get up at 6. Get up on 3 hours of sleep to make sure I watch my daughter's softball game. I would never miss it, no matter how much sleep I would miss. So there you guys have it. Happy Father's Day. Thank you guys so much. We'll be back previewing the next card. Dayne, you did fantastic. Thanks so much as always. See you guys.
Thank you much.